From the Boulevard Room of the Jefferson Arms, it's time for the Playhouse Party. And now here's your host, St. Louis's musical master of ceremonies, Russ David.
Thank you. Hello, hello, hello. What a wonderful word, what a wonderful word, what a wonderful word, hello. Oh, yes, sir. Thank you. We're broadcasting today, and you folks who are listening in today, which is Sunday, this is Thursday where we're cutting this show, and it's St. Patrick's Day, and everybody has on their green dresses and green flowers and green hats, and we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day today. So any of you folks that are listening in on the radio, we have not lost our mind. It's just a little normal for us to lose a part of it, but not completely. We will be on now for an hour, and we're going to have a lot of guests, one of whom is Bill Wood, a wonderful Irish tenor. How about a nice hand for Bill? And if anybody needs a haircut, Bill is also the barber at Ralston Purina. Well, he and Perry Como. I'd like to introduce the boys, Eddie Plitt, our engineer. Cliff Frederiksen, our accordionist. Danny David, my son. Jay Hungerfor. And of course, Dottye Bennett. Well, I called Anheuser-Busch yesterday, and I said, could I speak to Michael Rorty? They said, Michael Rorty is out of town for the week. And then I read in the paper this morning that Michael Rorty is the first Yankee to lead St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dublin. So he's over there today, and this will be a great day in Michael's life. 3 years ago, I was with Mike when they had the Irish Derby over there. And he's a charming man, and I'm sure he'll have all those Irish people over there charmed because he's a very warm, wonderful person. And I might be the first one to tell you also that next year on the telethon, 95, Mike is going to head up the telethon show for all the children. So Mike, so how about a nice hand for that, because he's such a wonderful man. One of my good friends, Margaret Fuchs, gave me this little toast to you before we start the show. May the lilt of Irish laughter lighten every load. May the mist of Irish magic shorten every road. May you taste the sweetest pleasures that fortune's e'er bestowed, and may all your friends remember all the favors you are owed. Thank you, Margaret. Mistress Murphy had a party just about a week ago. Everything is wonderful. The Murphys are not slow. They treated us like gentlemen. We tried to act the same. My, oh my, it happened. Well, it was a dirty shame when Mistress Murphy did the... Are you afraid to play this? I'm in C. Are you in C? Well, let's do it again. All right, play whatever you have there, even if it's wrong. Miss Murphy had a party just about a week ago. Everything is wonderful, cause the Murphys are not slow. They treated us like gentlemen, we tried to act the same. My, oh my, what happened? Well, it was a dirty shame. When Mrs. Murphy dished the chowder out, she fainted on the spot. She found a pair of overalls at the bottom of the pot. Tim Murphy, he got raving mad, his eyes were bulge upon. He climbed upon the piano, and loudly he did shout, who put the overalls in Mistress Murphy's chowder? Nobody. All the louder, it's an Irish trick or two. I can lick the through the Irish. One more time. Oh, who threw the overalls in Mistress Murphy's chowder? Nobody spoke, so he hollered all the louder. It's an Irish trick that's true. I can lick the through the overalls in Mistress Murphy's chowder. Hey, that's it. That's it. That's nice. I'm glad you played loudly, because when you hear, you know, it's a funny thing. I'm beginning to say to more people, what did you say? How many notice that in yourself? Raise your hand. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, later on, Dottye has a wonderful joke about that. I would like to introduce my good friend, Cliff Frederiksen, and we're going to play the Irish Washerwoman song. And here's Dottye to sing one of the lovely ballads from a wonderful Broadway show. And this song is called How Are Things in Glocarmora?
How are things in Glocarmora? Is that little brook still leaping there? Does it still run down to Donegal, through Killybabes, Kilkerry, and Kildare? How are things in Glocarmora? Is that willow tree still weeping there? Does that laddie with a twinkling eye go whistling by? And does he walk away sad and dreamy there, not to see me there? So I ask each weeping willow and each brook along the way, and each lad that comes a-smiling Toora-Loora-Looral. How are things in Glocarmora this fine day?
I would like to dedicate this whole program to Mr. Michael Roherty.
So I ask each weeping willow and each brook along the way, and each lad that comes a-whistling Toora-Loora-Looral. How are things in Glocarmora this fine day?
Dottye and I are both very, very fond of Fred Astaire music. And these days, almost every night on one of the television outlets, you can find an old Astaire movie with either Leslie Caron or Ginger Rogers or whoever the dancers were. But this is one of the wonderful songs.
Nothing's impossible, I have found. For when my chin is on the ground, I pick myself up, dust myself off, start all over again. Don't lose your confidence if you slip. Be grateful for a pleasant trip and pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again. Work like a soul inspired till the battle of the day is won. You may be sick and tired, but you'll be a man, my son. Will you remember the famous men who had to fall to rise again? Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again. Like a soul inspired till the battle of the day is won. You may be sick and tired, but you'll be a man, my son. Will you remember the famous men who had to fall to rise again? So take a deep breath, dust yourself off, pick yourself up, start all over again.
Thank you, Dottye. That's a lovely song. Well, we always have had on the Playhouse Party. For the benefit of the folks listening in, may I tell you we're broadcasting from the lovely Boulevard Room of the Jefferson Arms here at 12th, and I still call it 12th Street, but it's Luther King, isn't it now? What is it? Well, I would like to apologize to Mr. Tucker and Martin Luther King and go on. But that's where we are. And for years and years and years with the Playhouse Party, we always had a grand lady or a grand gentleman and a proud mama. And today we have another grand lady, and Debbie's going to introduce this lady.
We have with us today Carolyn Schaub. She's going to be 89 years in August, and I think she looks pretty cute with those little shamrocks twinkling on top of her head.
Yes. You know, for a while it looked like they were just growing out of your head. Oh, golly. You know, women...
Care to dance?
Huh?
Would you care to dance?
A little later I will. A little later I will. I love to dance. I'm one of the few orchestra leaders that like to dance. Lawrence Welk likes to dance. I can tell you all the ones that didn't. Nelson Riddle, Gordon Jenkins from St. Louis hated to dance, wouldn't even get on the floor. He wouldn't do it. Les Brown, he won't dance. They just play music and they play it beautifully. They just don't feel like dancing. But I like to play for dancers, and I like to dance. I'm not a good dancer.
Well, you're just good for me. That's all right.
Well, you're not difficult at all.
I always say the right things.
You certainly do. 89 years young.
89.
89, yes. What year were you born in?
1905.
Let's see, I was born in 1905, 8 years before me.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether it was for heaven's sakes or my father's. What'd you say?
Somebody always told me there's nobody gets as old as you are. Me. Somebody told me that, and he's dead a long time.
My aunt passed away at 105 at Marie DeVille out in Clayton. 105. And up until about 6 months before she passed away, she was still rational. She could hear you, and she knew what she was doing. Now, that's a combination of many factors, right? But you know something? I don't think there's anything you can do outside of just abusing yourself. You have the right genes or you don't have the right genes, and it either happens or it doesn't. I didn't think I'd live as long as I am, and at 80, I didn't think I'd make that. I really didn't think so.
You don't look bad.
She talks like Jack Benny wrote the script. Oh, I wish you could see this lady. She's got a couple of things dangling out of her head.
And I'm not even Irish.
No. Now let's see. Still active, son. Why don't you tell me about it? Is there a son in here, 63?
No, he doesn't live here. He lives in Kansas. Yeah, he's going to be 63 the 5th of April.
But do you get to see him often?
Not very often, no.
He's an only child?
Yes, I got a couple grandchild and one great-grandchild.
Let me ask you something.
No, yeah.
I'm at a point in my life where I say a lot of things that I shouldn't say. Hey, wait a minute. Watch it. Watch it.
I think you and I would make a good comedy team.
I'm glad you said that. Okay.
I didn't even have a beer yet.
A few.
How can I get like this?
What?
I said I didn't even have a beer yet, and when I get.
Are you still drinking?
No smoking, no.
Guy says I don't drink anymore. He says I don't drink any less either. What's your favorite beer?
Oh, Coors.
Michael, I'm sorry. Oh.
Did I say the right thing?
You certainly did. And the devil will come and get you, too.
I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, well, that's all right. That's all right. They're coming in, Ed. Felt like Red Skelton. Remember when Red said, I think they're coming through? Okay. We have a lovely corsage for this charming lady who's, in spite of her being a little dull, she's a lovely lady. She is. And we will dance. This is Carolyn Shaw. And Carolyn, is there anything that you're looking forward at the moment, with the exception of your birthday, which is in April?
Oh, not really. No, just I'm glad I'm alive. That's a hell of a lot.
I was listening to Joseph Campbell on Channel 9. What's that on? Okay. What, dear?
She wanted to know if she was all right.
You are perfect. You're perfect. You're perfect. Anyhow, Joseph Campbell is a philosopher and a wonderful, and he had 6 hours of him on the educational TV. And one thing he said, I'll never forget it. Woody Allen said this: I'm not afraid of dying, I just don't want to be there when it happens. That includes me. Okay, now let's see. I'd like to introduce my guest, Mr. Bill Wood. Bill? I'll tell you what, Bill, I found your number by calling Marty Bronson, and he said, why don't you call him at the barber shop? I said, what barber shop? He said, the Ralston barber shop. I said, well, is he a barber? He said, yes. So I called there, and at the time you were out, maybe you were doing one of these things, I don't know, but then I called you at home, right. And then I remembered that we did this thing at the soccer park where you were singing out there. That was the night that Frank Patterson came in from Ireland.
Right.
Incidentally, he's coming over here in April for Mr. Muldoon, who's having a party. So they're having in case you don't know, Frank Patterson is probably the most well-known, popular, beautiful tenor, Irish tenor in the world, as far as I know. Do you have a high opinion of this man from what I heard?
Very much so.
He was just
nothing else.
Just so great. Anyhow, did you cut a lot of folks' hair there? Just men's hair or women and men?
Well, it's open for everyone. I'm corporate barber.
I see. Anyhow, do you have a family, Bill?
Yes, I have 2 grown children, and I'm married. Thank God.
Yeah. In today's language, you almost have to explain that.
50 years ago, my father left old Iron Shore. He landed here, shillelagh in hand, and developed any more. He got a job, and then a wife, and then a family, and then he died and left his old shillelagh stick to me. Sure, 'tis the same old shillelagh me father brought from Ireland, and devil a man be prouder than he as he walked with it in his hand. He'd lead the band on Paddy's Day, twirl it round his mitt. A devil a bit, you'd laugh at it, or me dad would have a fit. Sure, it's the same old shillelagh me father could lick a dozen men. As soon as they'd get up, begory, he'd knock 'em down again. And many's the time they use it on me to make me understand. It's the same old shillelagh me father brought from Ireland. I'm going on the police force, it's the only thing to do. Instead of having one nightstick, begory, I'll have 2. If there's a fight, I'll be all right, for nothing bothers me, because I have the old shillelagh me father left to me. Sure, 'tis the same old shillelagh me father brought from Ireland, and devil a man be prouder than he as he walked with it in his hand. He'd lead the band on Paddy's Day, twirled it round his mitt. A devil a bit, you'd laugh at it, or me dad would have a fit. Sure as the same old shillelagh me father could lick a dozen men. As soon as they'd get up, begory, he'd knock them down again. And many's the time they use it on me to make me understand. It's the same old shillelagh me father brought from Ireland. Hey!
Bill rehearsed a little song with me called A Little Town in Old County Down.
Yes, this is one of the very pretty ones. Sure, if I had the wings of a swallow, I would travel far over the sea. And the rocky road I would follow to a place that is heaven to me. When the sun goes to rest way out in the west, then I'll build such a nest in the place I love best. In that dear little town in the old county down, it will linger away deep in my heart. Though it never was grand, sure it was my fairyland, just a wonderful world set apart. My island of dreams, you are with me, it seems, though I care not for fame or renown. Like the black sheep of old, I'll come back to the fold. Oh, little town in the old county down. Thank you.
Fred, Bill, would you do something? Would you do the verse to Irish Eyes, and then bring them in on the chorus, huh?
Very good. Sing along with me. I'll read it. There's a tear in your eye, and I'm wondering why. for it never should be there at all. With such power in your smile, sure a stone you'd beguile, and never a teardrop should fall. With your sweet lilt-and laughter, like some fairy's form, and your eyes twinkle bright as can be, you must laugh all the while, and all other times smile, and now smile, smile for me.
Everyone.
When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morning spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. When Irish hearts are happy, all the world seems bright and gay. And when Irish eyes are smiling, sure it will steal your heart away.
One more, huh? My Wild Irish Rose, okay.
My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare to my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. And someday for my sake she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose.
Oh, my name is McNamara, I'm the leader of the band. Although we're few in numbers, we're the finest in the land. We play at wakes and weddings and at every fancy ball. And when we play for funerals, we play the march from Saul. Oh, the drums go banging, the cymbals clang, and the horns they blaze away. McCarthy pumps the old bassoon while I the pipes to play. And the Tennessee tunes the flute and the music is something grand. A credit to old Ireland is McNamara's band. Do-do-do-do, 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 do-do-do-do.
I have a special guest that will be on right after we take our station break, and I did not introduce her at the beginning of the show, and I should have. Her name is Alice Jackson, and in the Everyday Post-Dispatch right opposite Jerry Berger's column was a big picture of this lady, this wonderful, sightless lady at the moment, who is called the best teacher. Senior citizens experience, inspire, and coach young writers. She will be our guest, and she's a charming lady. How about a nice hand for Alice Jackson? She'll be right with us. For the silver lining, whenever clouds appear in the blue. You know, sometimes when you have adversities, you think nobody's got trouble like I have. But when you see a lady like this who has overcome so many and done what she has done, I think you'll really appreciate this interview. One more time, everybody. Look for the silver lining whenever clouds appear in the blue. Remember somewhere the sun is shining. So the right thing to do is make it shine for you. A heart full of joy and gladness will always banish that sun. So always look for the silver lining. Welcome back to the Playhouse Party. This is Russ David with all the gang here at the Jefferson Arms. Don't forget, I want you to call 436-4600 down here for our next party, which is in April. Get in touch with them. It's a lovely place. So you're all having a good time. A nice St. Louis and Playhouse Party welcome for my guest, Miss Alice Jackson. A good friend of mine that I hadn't seen in years is bringing her over, Bob Rubright. And of course, we did a lot of things together. And he was teaching at Washington University, and he's written 3 or 4 books on his own. And of course, they're both inspiring new writers, people to put down. And I don't know how many people have, in the last 2 or 3 years, have said, Russ, why don't you put down your memoirs? And Rubright just said, could you tell me anything about Castlewood? Yes, I can play a lot about Castlewood.
Put my hand on the back.
Here you are, sweetheart. And here's your chair, and here's the seat, and there's the back.
I'll have the
Got it now?
You bet.
Okay, sweetheart.
This is her broken arm, right?
How'd you break your arm, Alice?
Fell down the steps.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Alice and Bob, thank you for participating.
Thanks, Russ. It's good to be here. I haven't been on your show since 1966.
Couple years, huh? In 2 years, it'll be 30. How does it happen that you know this lady?
She lives across the street from me in Kirkwood.
Is that right?
For 32 years I've been there. She's been there since 1941.
And does she do a lot of writing herself?
Not writing. She used to be a pilot. She's a dancer. She is a absolute phenomenon. I can't describe her any less.
Are you kind of like an Amelia Earhart?
I'm afraid not.
When did you get your pilot's license?
Oh, when I was 50 and I'm 78 now.
Got your pilot's license. Let me ask you something. So you haven't been sightless that many years?
No.
How did that happen?
I have retinitis pigmentosa. It's deterioration of the retina. And I'm sorry, it's an aging process, I guess. About 12 or 15 years ago, I began to notice I didn't see very well at night. And I'm very fortunate, and it was a gradual process, and I was able to train myself before I was completely sightless. And I still have a little vision, light. I see light, but I don't see my hands or anything like that.
I had a friend of mine who was sightless, and every Christmas time I would bring him some presents. So for one time I got late, and I said, I'm coming down to see you, but I'm going to get there till after the sun sets, Al. And I said, so you going to be home? He said, yeah. So I got there. The house is absolutely black. So I left the present on the back door, went home and said, where were you, Al? He said, I was here waiting for you. Where have you been? I said, there was not a light on in the house. He said, who needs a light? He says, I know where everything in this house is. I'm not going to pay Union Electric a bill. I know where everything is, and you know where everything is.
And I do the same thing. I never have any lights on.
Yeah. You see, everybody here who has the gift of sight says that would be scary for them. Let me ask you something. I'm dead serious about this. Was there a time during this, after all, like you said, you were lucky that there was a gradual cessation of your sight. Were you depressed? Did you feel depressed?
I have to admit, I didn't.
You did not?
No, I didn't, because I've enjoyed good health, And I was, I suppose, as I said, very fortunate in that my husband was ill, and a mutual friend whose wife was blind kept insisting that I get my training before I had lost my sight. So I think that's what kept me from being depressed.
You're training for what?
I was trained with mobility with the cane, and I also had my house all marked so that I could work the stove and the washing machines. And even now, I can cook, I can clean, I live alone, and it all started with that early training. So when my husband died, I could go anywhere.
You were ready.
I was ready.
Okay, nothing like being prepared. What about this article here in the Everyday Magazine, which was on February the 9th, 1994, Everyday Magazine, called The Best Teachers? I presume you are one of the best teachers. For whom?
Well, I have to teach in the area where I am. I'm not an educated teacher.
You don't have a degree?
No.
Well, let's skip that.
Well, the one who does have the degree is the wife of Bob Rubright, and she was the one that invited me to go to the school where she participated, and it was bringing older adults into the classroom so the children could experience and hear some of their life story, and then they're taught creative writing. So,
would you pick it up from there a moment, Bob? Because your wife led Ms. Jackson into this.
Yeah, my wife is a storyteller, and she is she's been a professor for over 20 years at Webster University in the education department. And she has a program whereby she brings older people into classrooms, and they talk, and Alice talked, and she showed her dancing gowns and her pilot's license and so forth. Incidentally, she also still taking organ lessons from a friend of yours. And when Alice left, the children wrote stories, and they were creatively inspired. And these stories were done by a very brilliant, with June Van Wisey, a brilliant teacher at the Edgar Road School.
Would you read one of these letters from one of the students who attended?
Not until I put my glasses
on. Yeah, well,
here we go. All right.
Read. This is from one of the students who received some of this creative writing.
Okay. This is by Shannon Howard. And Shannon writes, "If I was Alice, I would buy myself a motorcycle and would ride it every day. I would become Alice the Great. I would have my own show called Alice the Great. Then I would become rich. I would be on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I will have my own movie called Motorcycle Girl. I would be able to meet Mel Gibson and even Wesley Snipes. I would travel all around the world. Then I would move to Hawaii and go swimming every day. I'd buy all the motorcycles in the world, but all blue, red, and purple motorcycles."
Is that what you turned on?
Mm-hmm.
You turned that on?
Yeah.
How did you do it?
I don't know, but there's some others that are even a little more fanciful than that one.
You know something? I have a surrogate grandchild. It's actually Dottie's grandchild, and I'm around her a lot. Her name is Laura, and I have a pretty wild imagination. And I'm doing things that I know that their mother and father have not seen done, you know. And I have her now giving me strawberries and grapes. And I gave her, you know, some more elusive type fruits, you know, like nectarines and so forth. And she'll be 2 in April. And she gives me strawberries, and she gives me grapes, and I give her strawberries and grapes. And of course, these are all make-believe. These do not exist, but they do to us. And almost everything we've been talking about recently is in the field of make-believe. Suppose. And you know something? That's a pretty world.
Yeah,
I love that world. And you obviously do.
I do. Yes.
When you piloted, did you do most cross country?
You have to. You have to do cross country to get your license. And I flew with my husband. We went to Alaska, and we went to Australia and rented a plane, and we did some flying over there, but we had to take a pilot with us because we couldn't understand the way they spoke the King's English.
Yeah, that's a little difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember playing in Vancouver for IBM when I was a conductor in '82. And I had this whole band from British Columbia up there. And the band said, I said, well, I had all the music. We're going to play the Maple Leaf, which is their national anthem. And the contractor says, the boys will not play that, Mr. David. They were mad at the fellow back in Trudeau, back in wherever, Montreal, wherever. They didn't like him. And they were taking directions way out there in Vancouver. I said, guys, the rest of the world only knows this one. Do you have anything I can play for Vancouver? He said, no, Maple Leaf. I went around to all those musicians and talked to them. Yes, they talk a different language and they think a different language. What are you doing now, right now, when you go from here?
Home.
Do you cook?
No. Tonight I'm going to the pancake supper at the Christian church.
Which Christian church?
Webster Groves Christian.
My church?
Yes.
Well, I'll be darned.
You must be pew mates.
Yes. Yes. Well, Dottye and I just did a show right around Valentine's Day out there, and talked to the new pastor, Timothy, and charming people.
It's very active church. Did you ask her about her playing organ lessons? I live across the street from her in the old part of Kirkwood, but sometimes in the morning when I go out and get my Post-Dispatch, I hear the organ playing, and it's Alice practicing.
Who are you taking organ lessons from?
Your friend Lloyd Bartlett.
Oh, what a genius! He's terrific. He's terrific. And there's another guy that's had his share of heartaches.
He was blind for a while, so he's very, very, he understands.
Yeah, and he lost his wife under tragic conditions, and that just shows you can keep going, baby. Just keep your eye on the star and the swallow, as they say.
She was a pilot. She was a pilot.
Was she? I didn't know that.
Both of them are. He still is.
Before we leave, Alice, and I thank you so much for coming, because it's an effort to be here, and I appreciate it. Would you read one of those other articles by these children that was written after Alice Jackson gave him this creative...
Okay.
How old are these children?
These children, I would say, would be 6 to 8 years old.
6 to 8, okay.
All right, this is one by Tim Goodman. She is the one and only 78-year-old person who wants to go skydiving, but her family won't let her. So they made a compromise and went ballooning instead. When she went ballooning, she said, I want to go skydiving. She probably thought that the balloon was too slow. I know that she liked the balloon trip, though. I bet her lifetime goal is to go skydiving. I also think she might want to go bungee jumping. Don't you? I personally think that she loves adventure, but other people might not think so.
Thank you. Now, I didn't want to interrupt you. Who's a wonderful ballroom dancer? Alice is? Well, we're going to do that. And just keep, Bob, just keep Ms. Jackson here for a while, and after we complete the rest of the show.
Alice broke her arm about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and since then she has won 12 awards and prizes for ballroom dancing since breaking her arm.
A nice hand for Alice Jackson. Thank you, Alice. Well, you know, it's wonderful to have people with us who inspire one another. And certainly this lady here. Like I said, I dedicated this program to my good friend Michael Roarty, who on this day, and of course this is Thursday where we recorded this, is leading the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which means that Michael will be walking 2 miles today, and I know he'll enjoy it. Here are some of Michael's favorite songs. Galway Bay. Here's one of my favorites, San Michael's. You know this one, Bill? Come on, sing it. Bill Wood. It has a top of E natural. Would you like me to put that down? How about a top of D? Key of F? No, F on top. F on top? Well, let's try that.
Sure, I love the dear silver that shines in your hair.
See, I didn't want to do that. You see, I had the right key.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try this key.
Okay.
Try that key, okay?
Sure, I love the dear silver that shines in your hair, and the brow that's all furrowed and wrinkled with care. I kiss the dear fingers so toil-worn for me. Oh, God bless you and keep you, Mother Machree.
You know Toora-Loora-Looral?
Toora-Loora-Looral, Toora-Loora-Looral. Hush, now don't you cry. Toora-Loora-Looral, Toora-Loora-Looral. That's an Irish
Now, thank you. I'm not going to ask you to sing this. But if you choose to, I'd love you to do it. Do you do Danny Boy? Well, this is Michael's tune, which he always sings, and he always does the story about the father that sent his last son to the service. Do you remember that story?
Yes, I do.
Would you tell it?
No, you tell it better than I do.
Well, anyhow, this last boy that they sent to the service was Danny. And you know, Danny, I wasn't allowed to play that song because you were Danny Boy. And when you were in California, your mother missed you so much, so I wasn't allowed to play Danny Boy, because it was also her father's favorite song, and he was Scotch. And that's how that happened. Now, I want to get the right key, if you got the right key. Oh, it's on this yellow piece of paper. I love to read yellow pieces of paper. Danny Boy is in key of D. Okay?
Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the leaves are dying. It's you must go and I must buy. But come you back when summer's in the meadow, and when the valley's hushed and white with snow, for I'll be in sunlight or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And when he come and all the flowers are dying, and I'll be dead as dead I well may be, you'll seek and find the place where I am lying, to kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear the soft you tread above me, and all my world will warmer, sweeter be, and you shall bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me.
Thank you.
Okay. Boy, that was beautiful. See, I didn't expect that. I knew he knew it, but I didn't want to push him too hard. The Proud Mama. When you finally wound up with this Proud Mama thing, how many were there?
Let's see, was it the Proud Mama? Yes, there were like 3 of them, and so I took the lady who had the oldest child, and her oldest, I believe, is 49. And this is Marge Hueber. She has 9 children, and she has 31 grandchildren.
I'm sure you remember the late Ed Wilson, who used to be one of my favorite disc jockeys and a very close friend. He told me this Irish joke, and I'll do the best I can with it. Eddie did such a beautiful storyteller about this elderly Irish gentleman who was having his last days. And his wife is cooking corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day. And it is wafting through the house. And in his feeble voice, he says, Maggie, 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 Maggie. And she comes to his bedside, says, What is it, Jacob? What is it? He said, you're cooking corned beef and cabbage, and I know I don't have long to go, but would you please bring me just a small plate of corned beef and cabbage, and it's so good. She says, I'm sorry, we're saving it for the wake. Pretty bad, but it's probably happened.
Goes out in the morning.
Okay. 89 years in August. And wait a minute. I don't have any, right?
My father has a way of looking at you that's like death when he looks at you. Here it is. It's right here on the second half of the paper. It's the Proud Mama. That's her.
I would like to apologize to my daughter. for looking at her in destructive manner. I just severed all of her arteries. Anyhow, Marge Hueber. It's an H, isn't it? Huh? It looks like an O, Debbie. It looks like Hueber. I won't touch it anymore. I won't embarrass my daughter anymore. Now you have. Wait a minute, just a minute. I see you 9 children, 3 girls and 6 boys, and 31 grandchildren.
Right.
Holy cow.
Myself, you said.
What? What? What did I say?
To that lady over there, she should be ashamed of herself. What she said she did.
No. Let me ask you something. I just heard the new figures come out in the census that the median age of the United States, of all its citizens, all 230 or whatever million, is now 33 years old, which is always moving up. And the reason is that they're having fewer and fewer children, and people are living longer, so it moves up the median age. I don't suppose you would find one family in 1,000 today in the United States that has 9 children. I shouldn't say that, and I don't want you to fill any things I'm thinking. Okay?
Yeah.
But just leave it alone. But you know what I'm thinking. As I said it, I thought, oh yeah. But it's true that most families who are trying to have a family and take care of them, send them to school, and college, and take care, can't afford it.
Can't afford it. Can't afford it.
That didn't enter your mind at that point in your life, did it? Really?
Never did enter my husband's mind.
No.
Never did.
Boy, this is some show today. I got to tell you, it's not a dirty story, but it's kind of cute. The couple weren't having many intimacies, and they went to the doctor, and they were talking about it. And he said, well, I think that I have a treatment that could make it possible for you to enjoy one another, maybe once a month, be $2,500. And perhaps for $3,500, maybe bi-monthly. And for $5,500, perhaps weekly. I know that's a lot of money, but think it over and come back and see me. So the two of them came back, and the doctor said, have you made up your mind? And he said, yes, we've decided to build a new kitchen. Now, getting back, what did your husband do? What kind of work did he do?
CPA.
CPA, Certified Public Accountant. Is he living?
He sure is.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Most certified public accountants that I know at income tax filing, they are busy.
He's been a busy man.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what always makes me a favorite joke. What? She last baby when she's 48. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. No, I said it. Anyhow, the band was so bad, the orchestra was so bad in this restaurant that somebody dropped a tray of dishes and everybody got up to dance. That's what I thought when that tray fell. Okay. Where is your husband? You said he's here.
In the back, stand up.
Mr. Hueber? Glad you're here, Mr. Hueber. And I'll tell you one thing. You've got a wonderful, warm, compassionate, brilliant, literate wife. One and a half, is that it? We have a lovely corsage for our proud mama, and I thank you for being here because we only have a minute and a half to go on this show. We're going to close out on this show with Almost Like Being in Love, and they'll just fade us out at the studio whenever they get ready to, okay? Have you all had a good time? Here we are.
What a day this has been, what a rare mood I'm in. It's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race, and it's almost like being in love. All the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me, and from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I'd swear I was falling, I'd swear I was falling, almost like being in love.